Boeing's journey has not always been as challenging and controversial as it is now. In the mid-2000s, Boeing was one of the most admired companies in the United States, renowned for producing safe commercial aircraft. However, due to poor strategic business decisions and prioritizing shareholder interests above all else, Boeing has been steadily tarnishing its own reputation. At 10:55 a.m. on February 28, 2001, a 6.8 magnitude earthquake shook the Pacific Northwest, significantly impacting Boeing's facilities in Washington. This 1-minute-long earthquake caused chaos, affecting both people and infrastructure at several of Boeing's production sites. Runways cracked, foundations were damaged, and most notably, Building 10-85, where engineers were working on developing the 737 series, suffered severe damage. However, rather than becoming a disaster, this event turned into a catalyst for change and innovation at Boeing. Instead of relocating employees to other offices or rebuilding the damaged structure, the leadership of Boeing Commercial Airplanes made a bold decision. Boeing's Renton facility has been the assembly site for the 737 aircraft line since the 1970s. By the 1990s, the facility had expanded to nearly 300 acres, with production activity more dynamic than ever. Faced with increasing demand for low-cost domestic passenger planes, competition from the technological advancements of the Airbus A320, and pressure to streamline production processes, Boeing introduced the next-generation 737-737NG in 1993. Not only did Boeing develop the 737NG with higher performance and a fully digital design, but the company also sought to revolutionize the entire aircraft manufacturing process. During the 1990s, drawing lessons from Toyota and other Japanese companies, Boeing's leadership adopted the Lean 5S philosophy and just-in-time production principles to address backlogged orders and minimize inventory. By the year 2000, these ideas had been widely adopted in manufacturing plants. At Renton, Boeing undertook efforts to organize, simplify, categorize, and dispose of a significant amount of unnecessary inventory and surplus items, freeing up substantial space in the factory and warehouses. Instead of expanding to meet production demands, they focused on streamlining processes. Later, when the 2001 earthquake and the September 11th attacks shook the world, the company seized the opportunity during this period of turbulence and economic downturn to bring the entire 737 team, from mechanics to senior engineers, into the same building. This workspace restructuring allowed Boeing to relocate its engineering and business offices into 3 buildings along the eastern and western edges of the factory. By reducing the physical distance between mechanics, engineers, and management, issues arising during assembly, bottlenecks, and delays were addressed more quickly and efficiently. This workspace restructuring allowed Boeing to relocate its engineering and business offices into 3 buildings along the eastern and western edges of the factory. By reducing the physical distance between mechanics, engineers, and management, issues arising during assembly, bottlenecks, and delays were resolved more quickly and efficiently. The reorganization of the assembly line, enabling airplanes to move from one station to another at a speed of 2 inches per hour, helped the factory achieve a production rate of over 30 airplanes per month by 2010, and cut the production time for each airplane in half, from 22 days to just 11 days. The success of the 737NG series, with nearly 8,000 aircraft delivered over 20 years, marked a golden era for Boeing. This third generation of the 737 not only became the best-selling airplane series in the company's history, but also cemented Boeing's leadership in the global commercial aviation industry. In the mid-2000s, Boeing reached its peak, driven by a lean, efficient, and stable production model that consistently delivered safe and reliable products. This model emphasized close collaboration and communication between management, engineers, and mechanics, while fostering continuous improvement. In addition to the success of the 737NG, the launch of the 777 in 1995, which remains the most popular wide-body aircraft in the world, further solidified Boeing's reputation. The restructuring of the Renton factory and an effective competitive strategy against Airbus contributed to strengthening Boeing's solid position and prestige in the international market. At that time, Boeing was a source of American pride, a symbol of innovation and success. However, maintaining a leading position has never been easy, with the risk of falling behind always looming, and Boeing was no exception. It was during this golden era that Boeing decided to embark on an ambitious project with a new business model, marking a significant turning point in the company's history. About 58 kilometers north of the Renton factory, along Highway 405, lies the Everett factory, the largest building in the world, where the first signs of trouble began to emerge. Developing an entirely new aircraft for completely new purposes was bound to encounter challenges. However, Boeing's missteps went beyond typical setbacks. They signaled a rapid and prolonged decline for the company. In 2003, Boeing launched the 787 Dreamliner development project. However, the board of directors, executives, and investors were unwilling to repeat the cycle of massive investments and extended payback periods seen in previous projects. They sought rapid profits and set an ambitious goal to develop the 787 at half the cost of the 777's development a decade earlier. Not only that, but they also aimed to incorporate a host of new technologies, most notably the use of composite materials for the majority of the aircraft's frame, a groundbreaking step in the commercial aviation industry. Boeing found a solution, though one that would later prove to be highly risky. This approach was inspired by McDonnell Douglas, Boeing's last remaining competitor in the U.S. commercial aircraft manufacturing sector. Like many other companies in the industry, McDonnell Douglas faced financial struggles in the 1990s following the end of the Cold War and Airbus's rise. Needing a new product to survive but lacking the capital for development, McDonnell Douglas adopted a model of collaboration with risk-sharing suppliers. Under this model, each supplier would fund the design of their respective components, while McDonnell Douglas would handle assembly, and all parties would share profits from sales. Boeing adopted this solution for the 787 production project with the goal of reducing development costs by shifting most of the burden to its partners. In exchange for the opportunity to collaborate, subcontractors were forced to accept significant upfront investments, hoping to recover their costs later through the supply of components, parts, and maintenance services for Boeing and airlines. Clearly, this was an unbalanced agreement, placing subcontractors at a disadvantage. However, Boeing held a dominant position in the commercial aircraft market, commanding half of the market share. For subcontractors, a contract with Boeing, though less than ideal, was still a valuable opportunity that was hard to pass up. Thus, Boeing's plan to develop the most advanced aircraft in history at an unprecedentedly low development cost was officially launched. However, the bold vision of shortening development time and cutting costs quickly encountered major obstacles. The immediate consequence was a 3-year delay in the 787 project. At the aircraft's unveiling to the press, many observers exposed incredible flaws, such as daylight streaming into the cabin through the rudder and the passenger cabin being visible from the cockpit window. Later revelations from suppliers and employees showed that the aircraft displayed at the time was merely a hollow shell, far from being a complete airplane. In reality, it took another 2.5 years before the 787 could take off. Even when the 787 officially entered service, the anticipated cost savings from the new technology did not meet initial expectations. To make matters worse, the 787 faced a series of serious incidents related to its lithium-ion batteries, leading to a months-long grounding in 2013. Although the 787 may appear to be a success for Boeing on the surface, with over 300 new orders and the milestone of delivering its 1,100th aircraft in 2023, financially, the project has fallen short of the initial expectations of both Boeing and its suppliers. This is an inevitable consequence of an overly fragmented development and production process. Boeing has learned a costly lesson from this failure and has committed to avoiding similar mistakes in the future. After the global financial crisis of 2008, air travel demand rebounded strongly. At the same time, memories of record-high fuel prices remained vivid, prompting Airbus to launch the next-generation A320 narrow-body aircraft, which boasted greater fuel efficiency thanks to improved engines. Boeing faced a difficult dilemma as fierce competition from Airbus's new fuel-efficient narrow-body jets threatened to dominate its core market and main profit source. Boeing was forced to respond with a similar product, but was entangled in addressing the technical and financial issues of the struggling 787 project. Building a new production line or relying on outsourcing was not feasible in the short term, and developing an entirely new aircraft was out of the question. Under these circumstances, the only viable solution to compete with Airbus in time was to upgrade the 737, a design that was nearly 50 years old. Alongside this decision, Boeing also shifted its production strategy, returning to a more traditional approach, partly to resolve the issues encountered in the 787 project. Instead of outsourcing the majority of the process, Boeing decided to handle more stages of production in-house and collaborate closely with a select group of key suppliers. The most significant relationship among these was with Spirit AeroSystems, located in Wichita, Kansas, USA. Spirit, which was originally a division of Boeing, had been manufacturing fuselages for Boeing for decades, transporting them by rail to Seattle for final assembly. The sale of the Wichita division, which later became Spirit AeroSystems, generated $1.2 billion for Boeing and its shareholders. Entrusting Spirit with the production of the aircraft's core components was an understandable decision, given their long-standing history with Boeing. The primary goal for Boeing was to minimize development costs by shifting much of the burden to its partners. But things did not go as planned. To control the escalating costs of the 787 project, Boeing implemented the Partnering for Success program. While Boeing claimed the program aimed to optimize products and benefit customers, suppliers felt pressured to lower prices. Boeing demanded that suppliers, such as UTC, the landing gear manufacturer for the 777, reduce prices by approximately 15% for the same components. If they refuse, they risk losing their contracts. UTC did not agree, and the contract was subsequently awarded to Heru Devtech, a less prominent manufacturer. Suppliers who had invested in developing parts for Boeing aircraft with the expectation of a mutually beneficial partnership were now being asked to lower their prices and were accused of not putting in sufficient effort. The shared benefits Boeing had promised never materialized. The decision to upgrade the 737 instead of designing an entirely new aircraft turned out to be a critical mistake. The larger size of the fuel-efficient engines on the 737 MAX resulted in altered flight characteristics, which could necessitate costly additional training for pilots familiar with earlier generations of the 737 to effectively operate the MAX version. The Boeing 737 MAX crashes exposed systemic flaws in the company's production processes. The MCAS system, designed to automatically adjust the aircraft's angle of attack, became the primary cause of two devastating aviation disasters: Lion Air Flight 610 in 2018 and Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 in 2019. A single sensor failure in the MCAS system led to catastrophic consequences, grounding the entire 737 MAX fleet globally for 20 months. The fallout was severe. Hundreds of orders were canceled, Boeing suffered nearly $20 billion in losses, and production of the MAX was halted for most of 2020. These events painted a comprehensive picture of the diverse and complex issues within Boeing, from errors in product development strategy and critical software flaws to production process deficiencies and poor crisis management in the face of external factors. All these issues converged within Boeing's intricate global production system, revealing an unsettling truth. The once mighty aircraft manufacturing powerhouse was grappling with profound problems. The suspension of 737 MAX production triggered a negative domino effect that spread significant challenges to Boeing suppliers. They were forced to carry out mass layoffs, resulting in the loss of highly experienced professionals and valuable expertise. The market value of these suppliers also declined sharply due to the disruption. Spirit AeroSystems, one of Boeing's key suppliers, is a prime example. The company faced a series of production defects that went undetected by its quality control department, exacerbating tensions in its already complex relationship with Boeing. Although this relationship has gradually improved under new leadership, the fractures caused by the 737 MAX crisis remain evident. In today's fiercely competitive commercial aircraft market, where aircraft models such as the 737 and A320, as well as the 787 and A350, are nearly equivalent in terms of features and performance. The competition primarily revolves around production speed and cost. Both Boeing and Airbus focus on optimizing production, but their approaches are entirely different. While Airbus emphasizes building and maintaining the stability of its supply chain, even bringing some critical production processes in-house for tighter control, Boeing pursues a strategy of maximum cost-cutting from suppliers and faces prolonged internal labor disputes. This difference can be likened to comparing the making of a simple hamburger with preparing a sophisticated dish at a renowned Michelin-starred restaurant. Hamburger production can be systematized, broken down into separate stages, optimized, and even outsourced. An experienced entrepreneur can easily find ways to reduce costs while maintaining product quality. In contrast, you will never see a Michelin restaurant franchised. The reason is simple. You cannot create the best dish in the world by merely handing a chef a recipe. Haute cuisine cannot be systematized, fragmented, optimized, or outsourced. It requires the perfect combination of countless elements, premium ingredients meticulously selected, a clean and professional working environment, a kitchen space designed for efficiency and creativity, competitive salaries to attract and retain talented chefs, reasonable schedules to ensure the health and well-being of the team, the transmission of experience and secrets between generations of chefs, along with countless other minute details. Only when chefs are provided with the best possible conditions to fully realize their potential, while being held to the highest standards, can a dish achieve perfection. Boeing seems to be making a mistake by applying a fast food mindset to a Michelin kitchen. Once a legendary icon of the aviation industry, Boeing used to possess an extraordinary ability to lead the world into the modern era with its exceptional aircraft. However, that glory is fading. Boeing's talents are gradually leaving. Some are retiring, while others are resigning out of frustration with working for a company that continuously stumbles, promises reform, but then keeps making the same mistakes. The result is a vicious cycle. Cost concerns lead to ill-advised cost-cutting, causing severe problems, which in turn amplify the cost concerns, and the cycle repeats. Boeing is stuck at the bottom of a deep pit, while its competitor is not. There is no magical solution to help Boeing recover instantly. The only way forward is to persistently improve bit by bit, every day, at every level, from the leadership to the production plants. In an industry where even a few missing screws can lead to catastrophic consequences, the smallest details are incredibly important. The core issue for Boeing lies in the misguided belief that they can cut corners on critical elements without causing serious repercussions. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to check out similar videos to support us. See you in the next video.